Hello, I'm Randy Gerber, and welcome to another episode of the Founder Ride. Happy today to talk about balances out and integrations in. And before as I always start, where am I on the ride? I am light at the end of the tunnel stage for sure. We've have a lot of initiatives going on. When you think about this whole topic of balance versus integration, a lot of personal transitions this year with becoming an empty nester, a lot of business transitions with team and also process. As I mentioned in other communication, we switched to Culture Index this year, which has been a really great tool for us in terms of getting right people, right seat. But it's also been a lot of work, a lot of project work, and it's fun project work. We're definitely getting there. So let's talk about balance versus integration. Before I even start with that, one of the probably the most important thing as an entrepreneur you really need to understand is how important sleep is to you, how important your ability to sleep and sleep well, and not just hours in bed, but rather the amount of deep sleep you get versus REM sleep versus light sleep. It's really important. And one of the best ways to get sleep, of course, is having a regular exercise regimen. They're related to each other, but sleep unequivocally is the most important dynamic. And why am I bringing this up? Because when you're really thinking about work-life balance versus integration, you need to be on your A game, and you can't be on your A game without good quality sleep. So, and I'll come back to that in a second. The dynamic with work-life balance, when you really think about a teeter-totter balancing, and that you have to have perfect balance for a teeter-totter to stop in the middle. Otherwise, it's always going one way or the other. And I think when people think about balance, it's either I do this at the expense of not doing that. I miss out on this because I'm choosing to do that. In the reality of the situation, it's really sit down and think about what's most important to you personally, what's most important to you for your family, what's most important to you in business, and not just what's most important to you, but the way you spend your time. Really go through and understand what are those most important things for you, and I itemize those, and at the same time, I address those things that you do that are complete waste of your time, that don't bring you positive energy, and think about integrating those things that you love to do personally, professionally, and family. So you're getting positive energy for those things that fill your bucket at every level of your life, personally, business, family. And think about this from an abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. So when you think about work-life balance, so many times it's coming, people are thinking about it from the scarcity, like, I can't do this because I have to do that. Versus, hey, how can I integrate my family, my personal life, and my business life all in one? And here's a great example. I just came back from a conference called Advanced Planner Study Group that I do every year. I've done it for 19 years. It's the best thing I do in business, for sure. And over time, I've brought my wife, and she really loves the people that are in this conference as well. So I learn a lot, for sure, through business, and it's really momentous what it does for the business. At the same time, get to spend high quality time with my wife, who is spending time with her friends that she's gotten to know over the last 19 years, although she's really only been going for 10. And we have a lot of laughs. We get to ski in the middle of the day. The conference is always either at Vail or Aspen. We get to ski in the middle of the day, which I really love to do. I get to spend time with my wife, spend time with my friends, and spend time learning a lot in business, all in one very intense 6-day window. That's a great example of integration. There's lots of other ways I could learn this content, and there's lots of other ways I could spend time with my wife. I could do golf trips with my buddies who will go on this, but it's so much more efficient doing it all at once in one big bundle. No different than when you're thinking about doing events, family events. You can invite your friends who are your business associates as well too, and integrate it. So I think it's really a focus of having a lens around integration and an abundance mentality, and having your mind, your head, and the framework, again, back to the sleep, where you're really good at doing this. It takes energy to make this transition for sure. It takes a lot of energy to focus on integration all the time because it's easy to get into a balance situation. This concept. It's interesting. I was at an entrepreneurs organization conference in October and out in Dallas Fort Worth, and the concept of integration came up by a professional speaker, and I feel like I've been talking about this for the better part of 20 years because I realized a long time ago, just from a practical perspective, work-life balance just doesn't work. And so passionate about this concept and this topic that I wrote a book. And while the book is really about relationships and communication, there's lots and lots of tips in there and tools of how to integrate your life, with relationships that matter the most. Communication is really key as a part of that. There's no question about it. The book is called Integrated Entrepreneur. It really is a great book. It's a pretty quick read, and there's lots of simple tools of little tricks of how to really focus on integration and communication and how to message that to the people you care about the most. And that's one of the things I think that is unique to entrepreneurs specifically, that you're probably one of, maybe the only one or one of a few people in your social network and your family network that is an entrepreneur. And I promise you, they don't understand why you put yourself through the pain you do. They don't understand why you do what you do. And so communicating with them, being very proactive on how you're integrating them into your life or potentially not integrating them into your life is really important. And that's on you. They're not going to know what to ask. They're in a different situation than you are. It's your responsibility to communicate to them how important they are and how you intend to integrate them into your life. As always, thank you for listening to the Founder Ride, and feel free to reach out with any questions or comments you may have.